Hi guys. So today we are doing lesson 9.1 line plots. It is on page 389. So let's look at it. Students have measured different amounts of water into beakers for an experiment. The amount of water in each beaker is listed below. 1/4, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/2, 1/4, 3/4, 1/4, 3/4. If the total amount of water stayed the same, what would be the average amount of water in each beaker? So count the number of cups for each amount. Draw an X for the number of times each amount is recorded to complete the number plot. So we have, this is what a number plot looks like. It has each of the possibilities listed. So in this case, we have 1/4, 1/2, and 3/4 listed. You then go through the information that you have and put an X above each of them every single time you hit that piece of information. I'm a little annoyed that they started putting in X's because they didn't exactly do it in order. There's a couple halves in the middle of there, and it's going to get you a little confused. So I'm going to start at the beginning of it and just put them in as we get to them, which is how you're actually supposed to fill in one of these kind of graphs. So first off, 1/4, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 1/4, 1/4. Next line, 1/4, 1/2, 1/4. I ran out of space. 3/4, 1/4, 3/4. So I ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 X's above the 1/4, 1, 2 X's above the 1/2, and 1, 2, 3 X's above the 3/4. Okay? So that's what yours should look like as well. So for 1/4, we have 7. For 1/2, we have 2. And for 3/4, we have 3. Step 2. Find the total amount of water in all of the beakers that contain 1/4 of a cup of water. So there are 7 beakers with 1/4 of a cup of water. So there are 7/4. Or 7 times 4 times 1/4, which is 7/4. Or how many times does 4 go into 7? Once. 1 times 4 is 4. 7 minus 4 is 3. So 3/4. So this is also equal to 1 3/4. So we have several pieces of information that we are writing down in number 2. Okay, so all the stuff that's underlined ends up in one of the blanks in number 2. Step 3, find the total amount of water in the beakers that contain 1/2 a cup of water. So I have 2 that contain 1/2 a cup of water, so there are 2 halves, or 2 times 1/2, which is equal to 2/2. And what is 2 divided by 2? 1. So for this one, we need to write in the 2 2's and the 2 halves, and they already have the 1 written for you. Number 4, find the total amount of water in all of the beakers that contain 3/4 of a cup of water. So we just have the 3 times 3/4. So 3 times 3 is 9/4. So that I have, how many times does 4 go into 9? 4 goes into 9 2 times, because 4 times 2 is 8. 9 minus 8 is 1. So 1/4. So 9/4 is actually equal to 2 1/4. Add the total amount of, step number 5. Add the total amount of water in all of the beakers. I'm actually going to switch the way that they have these numbers because they put them all side by side. I don't like it that way. I'm going to put them up and down. So I have 1 3/4, 1, 2 1/4. Okay? So the first thing that I'm going to do is add my fractions. They have common denominators. Denominator is the same, so we're going to add the numerator. 3 plus 1 is 4. Bring down the denominator, 4/4. 1, now I'm going to add the whole numbers. 1 plus 1, 2, plus 2, 4. How many times does 4 go into 4? 1 time. So then it becomes a 4 plus 1, which is 5. So that ends up being our actual answer. Divide the sum you found in step 5 by the number of beakers to find the average. So I'm on step 6 now. So 5 divided by 12 is exactly the same as 5/12. 5/12. So the average amount of water in each beaker is 5/12 of a cup. So we end up, that's the one for step 5, that's the one for step 6, and that's the one for the bottom. Okay? That's all. That is the end of page 389. I'm moving on to 390. Pause if you need to. Top of 390, try this. You can use the order of operations to find the average. Solve the problem as a series of expressions that use parentheses and brackets to separate them. Perform the operations from inside the parentheses to the outer brackets. Okay, so it's the exact same problem that we had before. We just have 2 different types of brackets at the moment. Okay, so we have 7/4, so 7 times 1/4 plus 2 halves, 2 times 1/2 plus 3 3/4, 3 times 3/4, end of the brackets, so all of that together divided by 12. Okay, you see where we are right now? All right, so I end up with 7 times 1 is 7/4. We're just leaving it that way. Plus 2 times 1 is 2. 2 divided by 2, 1. Plus 3 times 3 is 9/4. So we put the brackets still there. Divided by 12 is still there because we haven't done anything with that yet. 1 becomes what? Remember, I cannot add if I do not have, well, actually, no, I don't need to worry about that just yet. So 1 is a whole number, so we're going to put it outside. 4s are perfectly fine. We're cool with them. They're fine. How about 7 plus 9? 7 plus 9 is 16. So I end up with 1 16/4. What is 16 divided by 4? 4. Plus the 1 that we started with gives us a 5. So you end up with 5 divided by 12, and then at the bottom, 5/12, which is exactly what we had the last time. Okay? Now, the other thing that we could have done that I was sitting here going towards is we could have changed this 1 into a 4/4, and then it would have been 7 + 4 + 9, which would have given us a 20 as our answer here instead of a 16, and then 20 divided by 4 would have still given us 5. We still would have ended up with 5. Yeah, that 5. Okay? So you can do it this way. You can separate it out. You can do it this way. I tend to separate it out because I find it's easier to keep track of that way. This is just saying you don't have to separate it out if you don't want to. Like I said, I'm probably just going to separate it out every single time because to me, that makes the most sense. Okay, so example. Rain divides 3 2-ounce bags of rice into smaller bags. The first bag is divided into bags weighing 1/6 of an ounce each. The second bag is divided into bags weighing 1/3 of an ounce each. And the third bag is divided into bags weighing 1/2 an ounce each. Find the number of 1/6, 1/3, and 1/2 ounce rice bags. Then graph the results on the line plot. So, step 1, write a title for your line plot. It should describe what you are counting. So our title is going to be bags of rice. Bags of rice. So you're going to put that at the top of your line graph. Step 2, label 1/6, 1/3, and 1/2 on the line plot to show the different amounts. 1/6, 1/3, 1/2. Step 3, use division to find the number of 1/6, 1/3, and 1/2 ounce bags. So 2 divided by 1/6 is the same as 2 times, and then remember the 1/6 flips, so 2 times 6, which is 12. All right. 1/3, 2 divided by 1/3 is the same as 2 times, we flip the 1/3, so it becomes 2 times 3, which is 6. And 2 divided by 1/2, the 2 stays the same. The division becomes multiplication. The 1/2 flips, becomes 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Then we're going to draw the X's above each of them to show how many it is. So that's step 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Or 1/6. 1/3 says that it is 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1/2 says that it is 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And that is the bottom of 390. We can work through the share and show, and then I'm going to leave you to do the on your own. On your own. All right. Liliana needs to buy beads. I am on 391. Liliana needs to buy beads for a necklace. The beads are sold by mass. She sketches a design to determine which beads are needed and then writes down their sizes. The sizes are shown below. So we have 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5. And I think I'm going to use my pen instead of my marker because I'm not sure how many of each of these ones I need. So I'm going straight through the list. 2/5, 2/5, 4/5, 2/5, 1/5, 1/5, 3/5. Second line, 4/5, 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 3/5, 2/5. Okay? So that's what mine ends up looking like. Yours should look very similar. Number 1, what is the combined mass of beads with a mass of 1/5 gram? So there are blank X's above the 1/5. There are 3 X's above the 1/5 on the line plot. So there is 3/5 or 3/5. Okay. Number 2, what is the combined mass of all of the beads with a mass of 2 grams? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that have 2 grams each. So 5 times 2/5. 5 times 2 is 10 divided by 5. What is 10 divided by 5? 2. So that's our total for number 2. Number 2. Number 3, what is the combined mass of all the beads on the necklace? Okay, so I have 3, which are 3/5. So 3 times 3/5 equals 9/5. And I have 2, which are 4/5. So 2 times 4/5. 2 times 4 is 8, so that's 8/5. Then I'm going to write it down as a problem right here because I prefer doing it that way. So I have 3/5, a 2, 9/5, and 8/5. Okay, so 3 plus 9 is 12, plus 8. 2 plus 8 is 10. 1 plus 1 is 2. So 20 over 5, and then we'll just bring the 2 down. 2 and 20/5. Oh, wait a second. What is 20 divided by 5? 4. So I have my 2, which was the whole number to begin with, plus the 4, which is the whole number that the fractions made. 2 plus 4 is 6. So I end up with a 6 being the number of grams, number of grams there are all together. So the entire thing is how many grams there are all together. There are 6 grams altogether. But it doesn't want to know how many grams there are altogether. It wants to know the average of the grams. So now I have to go back over here and count. How many beads did I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I have to divide that by 13. 6 divided by 13 is the same as 6 over 13. So 6/13 is our average. Okay? I think you can do this. A lot of it is just placing X's in the right places and then multiplying by how many X's there are by what the X stands for. All right? You'll be okay. Talk to you later.